Hey guys, so before we get into the video, we've got a couple things we need to talk about. Unfortunately, 7 of my videos I had to take down due to copyright, so this is why I'm re-uploading a different version of Morgoth videos. Also, if you could, please, nobody suggest any more Nerd of the Rings videos. It was all his videos that I had to take down, unfortunately. I don't know why. That's just the way it is sometimes on YouTube. Don't go send any hate or anything like that. All positive vibes around here. It is what it is. Also, we have got a Patreon. The link is in the description. Go check it out. If there are any shows, movies, or funnily enough, I've never watched an anime in my life that you guys want me to react to and watch, the cut version will be put up on YouTube and the uncut version will be put up on my Patreon. So the link will be in the description. Thank you so much for all the support recently. We will be reacting to The Hobbit for the first time ever. Like I said, the cut version will be put up on YouTube. As much as I can put up on YouTube, I will. The uncut full version will be on my Patreon. Link is in the description. Thank you so much for all your support. Peace out, God bless, and let's get into the video. Okay, here we are reacting to the epic character history part 1 of Melkor. Now this is from the Men of the West. Shout out to the Men of the West. Please go and subscribe to them. Absolutely amazing content creators. I love everything they put out. So yeah, go and subscribe to them. Subscribe to this channel if it's something you want to do. And let's get into Dark Lord Melkor. Epic character history. Part 1. But of course I'm a goodie, so yeah. Or at least that's what I want you to think. Nice. Let's do this. Here we go.
And thou, Melkor, shalt see that no theme may be played that hath not its uttermost source in me, nor can any alter the music in my despite. For he that attempteth this shall prove but mine instrument in the devising of things more wonderful, which he himself hath not imagined.
Okay.
Megovan and Melan, Yoiston here with your epic
Look at
character
that.
history on Melkor. Thank you all for
Oh my
voting on the
God.
poll for today's video. Now, since this character has done so many evil deeds in the Legendarium, I want to cover his main history today, which means I may not go into too much detail on any certain event, but I will do so in different videos. And as I was making the script for today's video, I found that to do these stories justice, I need to make a 2-part series on this character, in order to fully explain his actions. This is part
Subscribe for part 2. I will definitely react to part 2 if that's what you guys want to see.
Part 1, and part 2 will be out next Sunday. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. Before the first music of the Ainur and the creation of the world of Arda, Eru Iluvatar made into being the Ainur, who were named the Holy Ones. Mightiest among the Ainur was Melkor, who in terms of this universe, was second in power only to Iluvatar himself. The name Melkor meant he who arises in might. His brother was Manwë, who would be the king of the Valar. Becoming impatient in the timeless halls of Eru before the creation of the world, Melkor journeyed into the void as
I need to react to the Valar, man. I need to. I actually haven't watched any video on them. And I'm not gonna lie, the video I watched about Melkor before, I had no idea he had a brother.
He who arises in might. His brother was Manwë, who would be the king of the Valar.
Manwë.
Becoming impatient in the timeless halls of Eru before the creation of the world, Melkor journeyed into the void as to find the flame imperishable, also known as the secret fire. This flame was the spirit required to create autonomous beings, as Melkor wanted to do. But the flame resided only within Iluvatar, and he alone could send forth the flame to create life. Thus Melkor often wandered alone, apart from the other Ainur, and he began to grow away from them in thought. When the creation of Arda began with the first music, Melkor wove his different and darkened thoughts into the first song, and discord arose within the music. This made the first song end. Eru introduced a second and...
I just feel like they're all like singing like choir, like la la la, and he just comes in just spitting facts and sick bars. I don't know, How do we know that Melkor wasn't a rapper, is all I'm saying.
then a third, and while Melkor was able
Just
to
a thought.
traverse the second song, the third he could not defeat. Thus, Iluvatar publicly said that, though Melkor was the strongest among the Ainur, the music and all things that Melkor was and could create had its uttermost source in Iluvatar. For this, Melkor felt shame, but it also put anger in him as well, all of which he hid. After being shown the vision of Ea, the world, and what was to come, Melkor advocated to be one of the first to go there, so that he may help shape and guide the world and its beings, when he actually wanted to rule them. This was granted, so he and the other Valar went to shape the world. After descending into Arda, Melkor
What
claimed
I don't
the
get,
barren...
and let me know if this has been talked about and I've missed it, is why wasn't he punished for trying to change the song? And why wouldn't they have realised that he was up to something from when he was, you know, trying to put evil into their beautiful song? Let me know, let me know.
...land for his own, but the other Valar looked instead for Manwë to be king, as he best understood the will of Iluvatar. For this, Melkor began conflict with his kin, and while they worked to further build the world, Melkor disrupted them and their efforts. All great works built upon the empty plain of the world were destroyed, and this began the marring of Arda, and the world was left bare until Tulkas, the champion of the Valar, came to the earth and forced Melkor to flee from Arda for a time,
Get out of
which
here,
caused a great
man.
peace to occur. During this time of peace, the Valar were able to calm the world and put an order about it in preparation for the coming of the firstborn of Iluvatar, or the Elves.
Yep.
They established the two lamps to light the world, one in the far north and the other in the far south, while they dwelt in between them. At this time, Melkor re-entered the world with Maiar, who had aligned with him. Melkor delved a mighty fortress in the far north of the world, and it was named Atumno. He thus raised the mountains of the east around him. Decay began to spread from his fortress, and so the Valar knew Melkor had returned. This was the true marring of Arda, which meant that the earth would never be completely free of Melkor's evils. Before the Valar could find him, Melkor came from Atumno and destroyed the two lamps, which scorched much of the earth, and gave the Dark Lord time to retreat to his new fortress. After this, the Valar went to Valinor to rebuild, starting the Years of the Trees, and Melkor was given free reign over Middle-earth, where the Valar had once been. Thus Melkor created a second fortress called Angband, as a guard against the west, and command of it was given to Sauron, a Maya who had once served Aule. The Valar were reluctant to...
Okay, when it comes to the Valar, right? First of all, let me know, like, what's your favorite? Do they all have separate stories and, like, histories? Or are they not talked about a lot? Let me know, and if there's some really good videos about them, especially this one, for no particular reason, let me know if there's some good info, right? Also, if I was to choose one, who's my favorite? Can I get an M in the comment for Team Melkor? Let's go! Let's take over the world.
Wage war on Melkor as to not damage the world. They also weren't sure where the elves would awaken, and did not want them to suffer the collateral damage. However, the elves did awaken in Middle-earth.
It's like looking in the mirror.
And Melkor found them
Okay,
first.
except for the...
He captured many of them,
except for the creepy
did not
half
want them to suffer the collateral damage. However, the elves did awaken in Middle-earth, in Quivanian, and Melkor found them first. He captured many of them, transforming them into orcs through torture and other foul works. Once the Vala Arume found the elves, the Valar went after Melkor, starting the War of the Powers, or the war for sake of the elves. They leveled Angband easily and forced Sauron to flee. Afterwards, they overcame Melkor's hosts and besieged him in Atumno. After the siege, the Valar rent the doors of the fortress open, and Melkor was captured and bound with Angainor.
Got him.
Afterwards, Melkor was brought to Valinor and cast into the halls of Mandos for 3 ages. During this time, the elves were welcomed to Valinor, and Melkor's servants such as Sauron and the Balrogs yet lived, as Sauron had escaped Angband, and the Valar did not fully explore Atumno in their haste to capture Melkor. After the passing of the 3 ages, Melkor falsely repented, and since Manwë could not comprehend evil, he was released from his imprisonment.
Oh, that's why then. That must be the answer to my question earlier. Like that they're so pure and good that they can't comprehend evil. Damn. Damn. It's like when someone's so nice and so kind to people, that when someone takes that for weakness, they don't realize it, right?
But Melkor was more enraged now than
Those
ever.
are the people you got to watch
He
out
came to
for.
understand who the Noldor were, and that they would be the most susceptible to his corruption. So he began to spread lies and rumors. One being that the Valar held
Look at that helmet. Sorry, every time this guy pops up, what a helm.
them in Valinor, so that men would inherit and rule Middle-earth. These corruptions spread discord among the elves, and eventually led to many conflicts. Feanor, one elf who hated Melkor most, was actually the most disgruntled and accepting of these rumors. The Valar believed that Feanor was the root of the Noldor's discontent, and after he drew a sword upon his half-brother Fingolfin, he was summoned to answer for his troubles in the Ring of Doom in Valinor. Thus it was found that Melkor was the source of many lies and rumors, and so Tolkas once again pursued Melkor, but the Dark Lord had fled Valinor, which was in violation of his rules of freedom.
What boss.
After a time, Melkor went to Feanor's home of Formenos and feigned friendship, hoping to capture items of great importance. During these years of the trees, Feanor had crafted the Silmarils from the light of the two trees, and Melkor greatly sought these gems of light. But Feanor refused Melkor, and so the Dark Lord went south to Ungoliant, a spirit that I believe he had met in the void. She took the form of a great spider who devoured light, and after promising her that she would have her fill of food, the two fell creatures set out to destroy the main sources of light in the world once again. During the festival in Valinor, Melkor and Ungoliant came to the two trees, and Melkor thrust a great spear into the trees, while Ungoliant drank the sap and poisoned them. This plunged the world into an almost complete darkness for a second time, as the only sources of light were the stars of Varda and Feanor's Silmarils. After this tragic event, Melkor went again to Formenos, broke into the fortress, and slew Feanor's father Finwë, who was the king of the Noldor. Thus he stole Feanor's Silmarils that were there, and together he and Ungoliant fled to the north, and the Valar came after them. But Ungoliant's darkness called Unlight confounded the Valar, and the two enemies of Aman escaped into Middle-earth through the grinding ice of Helcarax. Even though the Silmarils burnt Melkor's hand, he kept them as prized possessions, hoping to make it to Angband and not fulfill his promise to sate Ungoliant's hunger with them. But the giant spider was aware of this treachery, and wanted Melkor to give her all of the gems from Formenos. This he would not do, so Ungoliant bound him in webs, and Melkor let out a great cry in that land. Any who would cry out there afterwards would hear the echo of the Dark Lord's voice. The Balrogs heard their master and saved him from the spider who fled southward. Melkor and his demons went to Angband to rebuild, and Feanor found his father slain at the hands of the enemy. At this point, Feanor named Melkor Morgoth, meaning Black Foe of the World, and from this point on, that is what his enemies would call him.
Hell yeah.
It was also around this time that Melkor set the Silmarils in his iron crown. Morgoth raised the three volcanoes.
I wonder, now I'm not the biggest Marvel fan. I'm more of a Batman guy. Let me know what you guys are. But I wonder if if Stan Lee, bless his soul, like maybe he loved these books and found this and thought, you know what, I'm just gonna make Thanos as like, you know, a type of Melkor. Right? Is anyone else seeing the similarities there? Right? I haven't seen all the Avenger movies, but I know he like wanted stones and put them in a glove and it like made him super powerful. That just made me think of it. That's just a thought, you know. I'm not saying, you know, Marvel and Lord of the Rings are the same. I'm just saying maybe there was a inspiration there.
Of Thangorodrim outside
I'd love
of
to know if
Angband,
that's true.
and
Maybe
he
we don't
began to
know.
rebuild his forces, breeding orcs and other foul creatures. Feanor would follow Morgoth, hoping to avenge his father's death and recover his Silmarils. Once Feanor's forces of Noldor came to Middle-earth, the War of the Great Jewels began, and Morgoth sent armies of orcs against Feanor's host, hoping to end the war swiftly. But the Dark Lord had underestimated his foes, and even though the Noldor were outnumbered, they swiftly destroyed the Dark Lord's forces, and only a few would return to Angband. But Feanor, in his pride and arrogance, pursued Morgoth's retreating army, so that he might fight Morgoth himself. He and his vanguard went far ahead of his main host, and the fleeing orcs turned to battle them at the gates of Angband. Being so close to the Dark Lord's fortress, Balrogs emerged to aid the Dark Forces, and the elves alongside Feanor were quickly defeated, while Feanor himself fought on alone. Eventually he was struck down by Gothmog, the Lord of the Balrogs, but a relief force from Feanor's sons came to save him. But the elf's wounds were too great, and he succumbed soon after. The eldest heir and son of Feanor, Maedhros, inherited the command.
Bro, I keep looking for videos of this guy, man. I keep looking for videos of this guy. And there isn't one. I think the only one I found was like a 40-minute one. So if you guys want me to react to Maedhros' history, it's a big one. So I'm going to have to do it in like 3 parts. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see. Because he just always pops up. And he's got the best hair in Lord of the Rings history. Shout out to the redheads in the comments.
Of Feanor's forces. Shortly after Feanor's death, Morgoth sent an emissary to the Noldor, offering surrender and promising a Silmaril as well. Maedhros agreed to parley and speak with Morgoth's attachment, but both sides came with mightier hosts than the terms agreed upon. And unfortunately, Morgoth's power was greater and had Balrogs within, so the parley turned into a defeat. The elves were quickly defeated by Morgoth's treachery, and Maedhros, the lone survivor, was chained by his right hand to one of Thangorodrim's cliffs. Morgoth continued his plot by stating that he would release Maedhros if the Noldor departed from the north and ceased their war, but at this point everyone knew that Morgoth was a liar, and sent no reply. Finally, Fingolfin, the half-brother of Feanor, and his host made it to Middle-earth from Aman, and after they had been betrayed by Feanor during the Coming, there were great tensions among the Noldor, and this divide was something that Morgoth hoped to use to his advantage. At this point, however, the sun and moon came into the sky, as the Valar created them to accompany the awakening of men and the start of the first age of the world. These new lights in the sky confounded Morgoth and his servants for a time until he created almost impenetrable clouds of smoke from the Iron Mountains to maintain darkness in Hithlum, the northern region of Beleriand. Using this confusion and the darkness of the clouds, Fingon, who is the firstborn son of Fingolfin, rescued Maedhros from his chained imprisonment. This act of valor and love greatly repaired the divide between Feanor's Noldor and Fingolfin's Noldor, and the elves began to establish mighty kingdoms in Beleriand and Hithlum. Under this unity, the Noldor were able to stop Morgoth's next initiative, and the elves set a siege upon Angband, hoping to forever contain the evil of Morgoth within. But we know the Dark Lord, and he would not be defeated so easily. As we shall come to see in the second installment of Melkor's history, he still had some tricks to play out.
Yeah, he did.
Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this
video.
video.
So good, man. Oh. I'd love to see, like, a movie about Morgoth, man. I just want it. I just want it. Obviously, it has to be done perfectly. But I'm sorry, I want it. I know people are going to be like, oh, you can't. It's too hard. I don't care. I want to see Morgoth in a film. Screw Sauron. I'm Team Morgoth, man. Like I said, M's in the comments. If you're Team Sauron, S in the comment. I'm Team Morgoth, bro. I swear I'm a good guy, I swear. I used to think Sauron was the most evil Dark Lord in all of fiction. Then I found out about Melkor. Not even close. My friends keep telling me to dress less goth, but I prefer Morgoth. That was good. Melkor is by far the most powerful and persistent villains in any fantasy-type universe. Yeah, this guy just didn't give up, man. Really puts Sauron into perspective when you learn who the real Dark Lord was. Yeah. The perfect channel doesn't exist. Yo, straight up. Go subscribe to these guys. Really, really good content. Men of the West. Subscribe to the channel for more content. And I'll keep uploading Morgoth videos and other videos. Let me know what you guys want to see in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 300 subscribers. It's been your boy OmarioRpg. Thanks for watching. Peace out. God bless. And I'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Really appreciate your time. Be sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 200 subscribers, and comment down below what games you want me to play or what videos you want me to react to. Thanks for being here, and don't forget, I stream daily on twitch.tv/OmarioRpg. Come say hello. Take care.